go with shorter windows.
Just,
Drop
you
the
know,
windows down to the height
if
of
you
the.
can, yeah, if you can, I don't know, try one more time. You're the designer, I don't want to tell.
2018 Architecture and Historic Review Board meeting. See, we have full agenda for tonight. Let's start with 130 Palisade Street, please.
Good evening, Pat Steinschneider from Gotham Design. Since the last meeting, we thought we were very close at the last meeting, but we still understood that you had a number of questions that needed to be addressed. We submitted a plan with a slight change in it. Most of the change was interior, but what we were realizing was that with the additional depth that we now have, because we started at 9 feet, now we're at 16 feet, that we really have room here to make this be a dining room and position the kitchen differently, give us room, but a door from the side where the driveway is. I'll show the elevation in a sec. And what that seemed to do is take some of the pressure off of how this was moving back further in relationship to the garage. Nothing else really changed upstairs. On the elevations, first showing that here's where that door is, which balances where we have the cutout on the back. Here's where we tripled the windows, instead of we had two different-sized windows over on the side. So I think this calms that a bit. And what it enabled us to do on the back is have a 3-panel door that opens out to the back garden, to the backyard. One other thing you asked us to do at the last meeting was to kind of take a look at all the different roof lines that not only that we had considered, but what other possibilities there would be. And we perhaps even went far afield. We looked at a whole bunch of different things, which we could show you if you want. I don't know that it's necessary, but what we did find was that by going to a 6 and 12 instead of the 4 and 12, the proportions on all of this changed kind of dramatically. And what I think it does is it makes the trellis that we were kind of trying to figure out before feel like it sets properly in this mass, moving that window up a little bit. And the good thing was, we're still, with that, we're still under the height limit. So we were able to make that fit together and, make all those things tie up. The other thing that I want to, this is just what we do, changes from, to a 6 and 12 to a 4 and 12, changing the 2 separate windows on the south side, the gang 3 window, creating the entrance door on that south side, triple glass door for the dining room, and other things. We talked about the way to handle the clapboard, and we before had this up high, and then kind of sliding down over this, and the request that they made at the meeting was that we would drop that down so that the clapboard and the band wrapped around consistently on it, which I think kind of made it calmer. Now, what we did after I actually prepared those drawings, I then sat with Simone, and she asked me to consider something slightly different, which was everything being exactly the same as what I just described, but perhaps it works into something that Dale was kind of playing with a little bit, which is that if we filled this corner of the overhang in, we then kind of have made the facade on this side much simpler, much calmer, and kind of ties everything together. And I'm not sure, but I think that your feeling is that you actually prefer that.
Yeah, from the exterior for sure. This seems like a good option.
But that's not what we have in our packet, correct?
It's not, but the only difference is filling that corner in, and we obviously could provide you with those drawings.
That's fine. Maybe you could just toggle back and forth. Just show us those two differences. Okay, so that cutout versus that's a solid.
Yeah,
how far along the?
Right.
And so, how do you resolve the rear facade?
It just, this
Are you able to zoom in on that?
I'm gonna zoom in PowerPoint. Basically what happens is everything looks exactly the same, except this plane is just inside the trim.
Yeah.
From this coming down, and we actually, this isn't a column freestanding, that's an engaged glass. So you still still get that kind of articulation, the three pieces coming, though we left it off this corner, it just didn't seem like it was necessary.
Yeah.
Get usable space on the inside.
It, yeah, I don't think this is an issue that's really one way or the other
Okay.
for us, so I'll let you present whichever option you prefer, and that's the one that,
Okay, I think Simone's preference is that we would do it with the enclosed area on the back. I mean, it does make this very calm.
I think it looks good. I just, can't quite tell how you're resolving the back. Can you just go through that? You have
Yeah, I mean, this
a
plane,
window, embedded pilaster, and then an oak,
this
and
window
then
is
it,
out in the outside plane, kind of the same, you know, the plywood here would be very close to level. Probably what this will be is an extra level of material to bring the siding out, create airspace behind it so that we get like a 1 inch, 1.5 inch overlap to the stucco. So this would come down, overlap that stucco, so the relationship of the siding to this stucco would be the same as the relationship of the clapboard here to the same stucco. And I do have a drawing, if you want to see it up close.
that would help. If we're gonna address this one. Okay. Do you have can we put the easel up so that,
Sure.
I don't know what's happening.
Let's bring it over to
The
the
line next to the left of the column.
Yeah,
Is it
oh, I
Jan?
see, there's like a little line there.
Jan doing this?
Yeah.
Jan, I know we're not going to be visible.
We can move it again so she can zoom in on it at some point. All right, thanks, and then just, so, walk us through those elements.
Do you have it in plan by any chance?
Yeah. In plan, you've got this bump out
Yeah.
coming around,
Mhm.
coming back in.
And the column is?
The column is just engaged on the corner.
Let me see the plan elevation.
Oh, so it'll be like a pilaster.
Exactly. So that's just engaged, stucco, sticks out about, an inch. It would relate to this woodwork
Yeah.
with the stucco sitting behind it.
And you can do the same on the other corner though, right?
We could do the same on the end if you prefer. It's up to you. I'm up for now. I'm about to go to Savannah and talk.
Yeah, and I feel like then you're looking at the side of it, which is kind of funny. I don't,
I'm good at
it's the back of the house, I'll let you guys resolve that. What's your preference, to just keep the one pilaster and then the
I'm
two
gonna keep
columns?
this corner unpilastered, keep this one so balanced.
Fine,
with
let's,
that.
or does anyone have an objection? That's fine. Sorry, I interrupted, let's continue. You were addressing all the points that we
Yeah,
had
so
gone
that
through.
this- On the back, this plane relates to this plane, so it comes around the corner, comes in, comes back in. And these three doors, and this overhang is only 4 feet.
Yeah.
So this is kind of nice. This is south,
Yeah, I got it.
so it kind of breaks your sun, which is good.
It's clear.
Okay,
I only got one question, one comment, and
Okay.
but it's your choice.
would you do us a favor?
Yeah.
Just for the camera, could you just set this back so that we can put the camera on it for record?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Tell me when you're able to see it, good.
That should be fine, thanks. Thank you, Patty.
One comment that when you go on the second floor of the elevator, the stairs, right,
Right?
it kind of calls for another window here, right? So if you have 1, 2, 3 windows, might help at the back elevation, but I'll leave that.
Okay. I mean, I'll definitely take a look at it.
No, but it's not,
Yeah.
this is what I'm saying. Just put a window here, so 3 windows,
I'd be fine with it.
and have like,
I mean, it relates very nicely to the 3 below. That'd be great.
that's it.
We can amend it and submit those and,
No, just probably.
We can, if,
yeah.
If everything, it's just, it's very nice to have this corner.
I agree 100%. I had that originally, and it kind of got changed when we made all these changes to plans, and I got to that point of where I
And
want.
now that you increase the massing in the back,
Yeah.
it needs more. Okay.
Yep. That'd be perfect.
With that,
Well, thank you. It is a subtle change to the roof, but I think it's a really significant improvement.
Yeah. I
And
was very
sometimes
impressed
subtle
that-
changes
yeah.
to roof
Made a
lines
huge
can
difference.
change
Yeah.
the perception of the parts.
I mean, I'll admit, I was drawing those alternatives to show that it would not be better, and I saw it, and I said, this looks a lot better, so thank you.
No, thank you. And I think that a lot of these other components that we've worked through for,
Mhm.
you know, few meetings, have come together
It's always
nicely.
great.
And so, I think I think you're going to be happier in this house. And I think so will your neighbors, and
Right.
so will the community. And so, thank you for, putting in the hard work and doing it the right way.
Excellent.
I will leave it to the applicant to decide on the one or three windows at the back. We are going to, we are going to,
yeah, why don't you use the set that?
yeah, I would like to, does that have a name? Is that, or a different date, so that we can enter that set into the?
What do I have on that, revised, did I change it?
5/9/18.
5/11.
Is that the,
Why don't I can write right on it.
Bring the two, also the plan.
Yeah, well,
well, you can leave them with,
And you can even
Building
sketch,
inspector will-
if you wanna sketch the window, because it's too much, the one in the middle, so. I'll do it, and that's it.
Simone, can you please sign this? Yes, sign it. That way we know that you actually saw it and everybody agreed. Well, yeah, it was good to see.
well, for now, so let's make I'd like to make a motion that we approve, this application as submitted. This is the version with the enclosed area on the first floor at the back, of the house. And a minor change to the second floor, middle window is turning from one window to three. That's it. Yeah, your seconds?
This is the first time on the board that I will be voting no on a project. I just don't believe that the proportions on this house are what this, what the neighborhood of the houses. And my vote is no, but I think you have the rest of the votes to get the project.
I do, but I'm gonna still wanna talk to you in the future about it when we're at the site,
Please.
maybe looking at it.
Absolutely, no worries. And Simone, I wish you good luck. We're almost neighbors, so I'm sure you'll be very happy.
Okay, thank you. 35 Riverside Place.
So it's me again, and what we did since the last meeting was we made the change to the elevations on the back, so that we did the hip roof instead of the shed. Which I believe everything else is okay, and it's just needing to get that resolved.
That's correct. And it looks,
No,
it looks,
Acceptably boring? Acceptably
no,
normal. That's always good, but I'm gonna be, what's driving for normal. I'm not gonna be driving.
any comments on this?
Approved.
No. I don't think we need to belabor this anymore. Thanks for making that change. I think it looks appropriate to the house typology. I'd like to make a motion to approve this as submitted. Do I have a second? Yeah, your seconds. Unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Quite a roll tonight. 75 Main Street, please. On the building.
On the sidewalk. It's the edge, the edge tree.
75 Main, Park, last, the applicant. So it's a continuation, so the last time we came here, we had a series of items that we went through a lot, and then in the end, we wanted some more illustration on the terraces, palisades, and the entrance to the core. So I have Chuck out, the architect, to go over those items.
So, picking up on what you said, two main areas that I just want to talk about tonight have to do with this entry area here, shadow in the view, and then the terraces that are sort of around the corner up above. So this is just an updated view looking down Chestnut Street towards the new building. So here, as you can, as you sort of approach the building, get a little bit closer, what we've done is, use a comment, as I understand last time, they were concerned that this, the parapet was kind of high and there's a larger amount of metal in here. So what we've done is we've, two things. One is we've lowered the parapet about 18 inches to just about the maximum you can go. We've aligned the heads of these two windows here with the heads of the windows on the first floor terraces. And then here, if you recall, with the trellis units that sort of are suspended from the face of the building. And basically, there's a kind of part of the cornice that aligns with that, lock that in. And then, since these basically sit at the bottom of the trellis, is roughly where the ceiling is, and the floor construction is thicker than this, I doubled the cornice, which I will quickly a little better in a second, to sort of cap this part of the massing off, and then to cover the roof and the insulation and the curb and the small terrace there with some pedestals. And it also gives a little bit more of a view of the trellis, which is probably better from the terrace itself, where you won't, if you're sitting there, you won't see as much of the parapet. So looking back the other way, originally, just for reference, I had set this point at the head of the window to sort of kind of cap that off. But then here, below it, the other change here, sort of adjustment is, in sort of much earlier versions, this window in the retail had been blocked up. And now we're preserving it, a little bit, but what that means is that we've raised the entry canopy up slightly so that it lines up with the lintel, because I didn't want it to sit below the head window, we were kind of on the inside, which kind of makes this entry area slightly taller, I guess. But it also pushes, by being raised, we've switched these from 8-foot tall fixed units to 6-foot tall, just because otherwise they get kind of oddly behind the canopy. Of course, what that means is that they simply match the windows on the second floor. Not exactly, because these are operable windows and these are fixed windows, but you have the same size and basic configuration. So here, straight towards the entrance, as you can see from the continuation from last week, last time the meeting, the change in the garage doors, and then here again, that spandrel height is matched here, the window head, and then we also brought this upper one down slightly, so it's not coming in quite as high or quite as tight to the other side of the gutter. Which also, I think, diminishes that mass as well.
Can you tell us what those dimensions are approximately? So you mentioned the canopy height raising up, you mentioned the upper parapet coming down, and then the setback parapet height coming down a bit. So what are we talking about?
So here in the elevation, these are 8-foot doors with a 2-foot transom. And then, as far as the canopy lines up here, I think it's about 12.
But the change was, you raised it up, the change is a foot, I don't have the previously approved drawings in front of me. And just, you can put some estimations, rough numbers.
Well, nominally, over here, that's an 8-foot door, and the ceiling is roughly 10 feet. So that's about a 2-foot, that's another one of these 2-foot modules. So it's about a 2-foot spandrel, and then that's about 8 or 9 inches and 9 inches here. So I think compared to last time, where this window had been set up a little bit higher and was not aligned with these, this whole wall has come down 18 inches, and then I guess this has probably come down 6 inches, 8 inches.
And so that plus the change in the canopy, you lost one horizontal band of glass light, right, out of the upper
Right,
window.
I mean, if this had been still set where it was before,
Yeah.
then it would have been roughly in line with the floor
Okay.
here, and again, what it is a vestige of the previous version, which had a sort of a extra social room here before we had to change the core. And that one, I wanted to have a taller window unit, and so instead of having the glass go to the floor like it does here, because it's a door, I wanted the sill, so it's like 1 foot and then 8 foot and then 1 foot. So then that just kind of got perpetuated into the subsequent version that you saw last time, and then here, so kind of tried to tighten it back up again, and sort of lock everything in. So, like I said, you have this, the end of the 10 feet, roughly 12 to the canopy, and then the 6-foot window, which mostly disappears, I think, behind the projection. And then this is lowered. So the second area we wanted to address had to do with on the Bayside elevation. This area here on the sort of second level of the duplex, if you recall, that's an apartment there, and then this is a two-story apartment. And in the previous version from about a year ago or so, this roof was more monolithic. And then this was originally a two-story high living dining room. And these are basically deluxe windows, roof windows, stuck onto the sloped portion of the roof. Subsequently, we decided that sort of better use of that volume in a way to make it part of the upstairs, suite, and to take advantage, obviously, of the river views, light. So thus, the desire to put a terrace there. So it's similar, so this room now has, the kind of pitched ceiling, and it has a terrace on both corners, basically. So then, the next question is, how to sort of configure that, and what this is showing, you'll see in a moment, is basically the two walls of the terrace just sort of splay out in line with the roof hip. And I think that does two things. One is working from the inside out. In earlier versions, that was just more like a rectangle cut in, which had the problem of leaving the terrace, and it also, you were looking for a tunnel in the walls, whereas by splaying the walls out to the side, you don't see them any longer in perspective, and it really pulls the view in. And then I think from the outside here, looking in, it allows us to sort of take this vocabulary of the windows, being grouped together, the spandrels, and the steel of the trellis, and sort of bring that up in so that it kind of block together. So it gives this, the other thing is it gives, obviously we're repeating a lot of these kind of triangular forms with roofs, the hip roofs, and this little window, the transom, has always been there, but instead of being sort of isolated, I feel like it kind of locks in, to this whole composition here, which then gets pulled down into the mass. So here you can see it in the aerial view, again, just following the break of the hip, and that same vocabulary, which is just sort of repetitive on the side, and then gets sort of gathered to become a little more frontal, more figural, facing the west, and we give these a sort of large opening. From the street level, it's mostly actually, I think, obscured. I mean, you get a little bit sort of similar to what you get on the side, with a little sense of that cut. You got a little bit here, but I think it makes more of a full sort of transformation. Instead of just mimicking this roof line, I think now it has its own identity in the context of the whole composition. And mostly it's sort of cut off by the sort of viewing angle. And then that's the front and the side together.
Do you have the previous version of this? The one that was originally approved? I just don't know what the difference is between what was approved and what this is.
Well, the massing here is essentially the same. It's just this was all gray and it had two deluxe windows.
That's it?
Basically.
Yep.
That's the only difference in this area. And then, as I said, that there was kind of slight adjustments on I guess last time, what I talked about, the garage. Corner flange. But the main architecture, I guess, of the new buildings changed.
Yeah, the last time, this application was before us, we had out the old drawings and we had some, yeah, we had some comparison of, you know, sort of A and B. And I think there were just some clarifications to some questions I had asked the applicant, and I think, I mean, it's very clear that these answer all those questions. I think this is what we were missing at the last meeting. So there were, if I remember, about 5 issues before us. We had we told you that we were okay with, you know, seemingly all of them except this one, with the sort of connector piece that we couldn't quite understand. Do these drawings vary from the ones we looked at last time in any significant way? Just because what we did last time was compared very closely that application to the previous, to the approved application. And now we have a new set, and we have not done that because I didn't have a copy at home. So I'd like to know what the difference is between this, what you've submitted for tonight's hearing, and what was submitted for the previous hearing, which was about a month ago.
As you would. This is what I gave you last time. So here's what it looks like. What we gonna approve then?
Yeah, that's what, yeah. So the drawings from that you were here with last time,
Or this one, or
was
these
this,
right here?
this one?
Yes. No, they were, those were the original ones. I was there last time.
Oh, yeah, this is.
They were the original.
Yeah, okay.
As approved, and then these were the ones that were amended. Here's what I came in last time, you asked, this is what I came in last time. This was amended,
Yeah, so this you brought us last time, so,
and then you wanted me to illustrate that more.
exactly.
That's what I did.
Yeah, and I just want to, because we spent so much time comparing all those other components, you know, you removed a Juliet balcony, you changed a window to a door, there were a bunch of little things which we were fine with, and I just want to make sure there's nothing else on this drawing that was submitted for tonight's hearing that wasn't on the last one.
Right, we basically just highlighted those 2 things.
Okay.
Yeah, the one there actually is, yes, you can see the areas that were bubbled, right? So, the window in the middle.
Well, this we dealt with, this was the open question here.
Right.
This we dealt with, that's fine. Is there some signage? What's
Well, that
going
was,
on?
there's one slightly newer version that matches the renderings. This was an error on my part, so I
This
corrected
one right
that.
here, this is what I
Basically,
presented last time.
Right. So
This guy.
basically, that's on the very latest, so you can.
The entrance to Chestnut was basically, last time, this is what I presented.
Yeah.
And Chuck didn't carry that on to this new version, so.
Okay, yeah, so we're fine here, this looks great.
So what's the room behind this now? You said used to be a social room, but it's not anymore.
This is
It's just
Double
open,
height,
open
yeah.
space.
Open space
Yeah,
with
I
a
remember
fixture.
from last time.
Half of it's
Yeah.
not.
So what is the change here? This is the one.
Chuck didn't illustrate that, this is
You
what.
have, they have a render, right? You have a rendering there?
That's it, right there.
Yep.
Do you have the,
So that's the right, so this is not right, and it's the, yeah.
Oh, I see.
I missed that. So I put that in,
That's better.
that change.
Okay.
Missing from the drawings we have. Otherwise,
Yeah, that's better.
It's fine.
Okay, so we're okay here. We're okay with this. We're okay with the Julian Parkin. And
What is this one? What is this one?
tell us about this up near the corner. What's the change here?
those were two light wells into the basement, basically, that were sort of carved out into the sidewalk. And
They were existing?
they were existing wells, right?
I had never noticed them. I walk it all the time, right?
There's a grate on
So
top.
I guess I'm not gonna
Yeah,
miss
street
it.
level.
There was, but they
It
were
was.
doing, it was like boarded up, so we just, we
I see.
bricked it in and fit, and we did a sidewalk over.
Okay.
Can't lose your keys.
And I think the change is welcome. I think it makes a lot of sense to capitalize on that part of the plan for another room with views in the terrace. So, it makes a lot of sense. And I think it's a nice subtle sort of change. There'll be change in light reflectivity and that kind of thing. Maybe people will grow some things up there and it'll work out well. So this is a good change. Any,
Good.
Connector's really nice. It really modulates everything and ties in well. It's much
What's your
improved.
schedule for completing the project?
The front door is
Do
pretty
you
far
have some,
along,
yeah,
you know, what I mean, so it's a.
that's all the steels, most of the steels. I see.
The
350,
front building's all
right?
sheetrock,
Or
we're in finished stage, in the back building, we got all steel on the first floor.
Right.
that's right.
So
14.
hopefully
I think
they
it's
put the
41.
decking start the next floor next week, and maybe a few months later, sometime in the fall. Yeah, it should be all fast.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve these changes, with the exception of the door on our drawing shown is incorrect. The one on the presentation is correct. So we'll just note that this is to receive it's a divided light, four-panel door. Is it one operable, two fixed? Or, yeah,
It's not resolved.
okay. I'll note that, yeah. Do I have a second? Yeah, your seconds. Unanimous, thank you. 63 Main Street, please.
There's regarding remain, I have put up a window sign, and I have this sign here with me.
I think that if is this an accurate representation?
I think so.
Then we don't need to hold you up anymore.
Okay, that's it right there.
Welcome, good luck.
Thank you.
And it's a great class. I can vouch for it, right?
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Motion to approve this as submitted, and second. 50 seconds, unanimous. Thank you. 10 Hamilton Street, please.
We're here in regards to the proposed film that we'd like to put on the windows in our new restaurant on College Street. We have a series of
So it's to cover the back of the banquet.
Correct.
Okay,
And also
and
we felt.
and the color, you want them to match the blue of the canopy?
Correct, that, she wanted the film to match the awning for,
Yeah, I gotta say, I've noticed a lot of the there's a lot of film going in a lot of those windows, and it looks terrible. It really looks crappy. I mean, I would suggest putting just a, I don't know, a film that's translucent or something. The color, like the next door neighbor, which is the urgent care, it's covered in
orange,
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of nice, gotcha.
it looks terrible. I mean, I think if you, are the banquets finished? I'm thinking of, if you, they're not finished yet. If you go to, there's a nice restaurant on 43rd and 6th Avenue that has the back of the banquet. It's all glass and the back of the banquet is finished. Now, they spent a fortune on that, and I'm not suggesting that you clad the back of it in Brazilian rosewood, right? But you could finish it. You could spray it. You could, finish the back and hold it off the window, and that's one solution. Another solution, I think, would be to use just a translucent film. Yeah, like a 3M kind of film. The sign guys will know what that is, and this, the kind of thing that people put on shower doors or in bathroom windows and things like that. I think it'd be a nicer solution. I think that those bright vinyl films, they look cheap. And I wish we had something in our code that said that you can't use them. I'm just making a suggestion because I think it'll make your restaurant more appealing.
I'll support it. I was about the same, to say exactly the same thing.
Okay.
So basically, you would approve the blue or?
No, they're not really blue, so we prefer if we did some kind of translucent film.
Yeah.
That would be
Yeah.
something that'd be okay, even at that height, 'cause I know the height.
What's the height? I mean, is there a horizontal mullion there, or what would be the?
There's no
The
mullion.
base of the building, I believe, is 10 and a half inches, and I think the film was 3'10", so it was about 42.
Okay, I see. So there's no architectural element there.
No.
Okay.
I could live with that.
With what?
With the film, the 3M film.
Like a translucent film.
Films, look at Solix, SOLYX, they're online. Find them there.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Do you want to do that, or do you want to think about it?
We will, you want to go ahead now? Would we be able to, I think we'd like to think about it and resubmit with the film. I think that'd be best.
Okay. Good news is you'll be first on the agenda next time.
Yeah, let's exercise all our options before we do.
The other,
That's fine, we're gonna do that.
the other thing is you could consider a gloss blue plastic laminate on the back side of the banquet.
Okay, like that, is
Yeah.
fine. Okay, I think, to be honest, I think the film would be sufficient that you guys suggest. I think that'd be okay. Are you guys okay with that height?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Mhm.
It corresponds to the height of the back of the banquet, right?
Correct.
So I mean,
We have some kind of design,
what's that?
some kind of design, some kind of pattern.
In the film, where they?
Like, even if it's-
Well, then it sort of breaches into the realm of signage, and then you end up with the square footage issue,
Gotcha.
right? You're allowed certain square footage for your sign that's a proportion of your building length. So if you want to look into that, you just have to relook at the calculation and see if you,
Well, we're not covering more than 35% of the windows.
It's a textured film. It's a translucent texture
yeah.
signage.
He's saying if he puts
A
this,
pattern.
yeah, well, what did you mean? Sorry, did you mean like logos, or did you mean just like texture?
What kind of
Texture.
pattern in the-
Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood you. I thought you were talking about like a logo.
Just put a film.
yeah, they have different textures.
Yeah, he's showing me that a lot of
Yeah,
them
This is a film.
have textures. Sure, we're open to, propose something.
Gotcha, and what was the name of that Solex you said?
SOLYX, I think it is. Yeah.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
But also, there's a number of them from 3M that are really good,
Look at, they have like,
cost-effective,
yeah.
good-looking
It's
solutions.
dusted crystal.
That's the crystal, yeah.
All right, perfect, thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
Motion, we continue this to the next hearing. Do I have a second? Okay, your seconds, unanimous, thank you. 100 Danforth Avenue, please.
You should already have it, but that's a,
Is it the same?
it's just an excerpt of the exact same,
Oh,
just a photo. Basil with West Doctor. We are submitting for a temporary permit renewal. This is approved already, you should have the package, and this is just a renewal of the exact same temporary permit signs. 2 banners and then 2 smaller.
And for how long do you expect to be removed for?
For how long? Renewal, we are renewing so that we can keep leasing, but we anticipate we'll be fully stabilized by October 1st. And as soon as that happens, we're going to take down banners and all signs.
Pretty straightforward. Any questions, comments? Motion to approve this as submitted. Can I hear seconds? Okay,
So
unanimous.
the extension is until October 1st.
No, last time we believe it was for 6 months, and so it's another 6-month extension, and if they go beyond that, then they have to come back. Hopefully, you'll be where you want to be in October, and we won't see you again on this issue.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. 88 Belden, please.
This is garbage. We are proposing a house addition around 76 square feet on the first floor of the property, and a master suite addition on the second floor, approximately 601 square feet. We have some elevations that we can show you. We also have a board here prepared for the presentation. Basically, what we are proposing to do, we are raising the left side. I don't know, do you have any pictures of the existing on record, or maybe I should
yes.
Yes, we do. You included those at the.
very lopsided.
Yeah, no, we see
The
it.
left side is across the street from the golf course, I think. The left side of the house,
No, this one.
I don't know if at some
Isn't that the
point
same?
we had an
Oh, yeah.
addition
Where do we go?
or,
It's in the package.
the geometry of it is completely unbalanced, there's no balance, yes. And I think at some point they put up this addition to the right side of the house. And, the rest of it was a ranch. There are 2 bedrooms in that little addition that you see to the right side. Not huge bedrooms, so what we're planning to do is to basically add a master suite. I think you have also the floor plans of, we did draw the streetscape for your information also with the house to the right and the house to the left. The house to the right has been fairly recently approved. It's, I think maybe this garbage 2 years old? Like a year and a half old, a contemporary house. Rather high in terms of elevation from the street. We are raising the ridge a little bit, having some technical difficulties here.
We have an easel for just this reason. If you'd like to present the old-fashioned way, we're happy. We have the drawings in front of us also.
With a flash drive, does it work?
No, we have our own copies in front of us.
So basically, our addition is right on top of the main living room area. We have revamped the front door, it has a double door with sidelights. This gable that you see here is basically a niche carved out, like a little desk niche in the master bedroom area, small sitting area. And then the balcony that is a usable balcony right on top of the front. The ridge line we raised a little bit because it was extremely shallow. So if you look at if you look at the A8, where you see the actual sky exposure line, there is a slight encroachment on the right side, approximately 20 inches in height. Other than that, and slightly on the left side also. So we, upon advice from the building inspector, we prepared like an alternative layout that we wanted to show you, where basically, we can pass this around to the board members. Basically, they're trying to, corner that gable and lower the ridge at that point, so does not encroach on the sky. It's just an alternative. It's approximately 20 inches in height,
We count the area of the house, so that part of the roof which is overhanging the house is an allowable obstruction. There is a small, very small wedge that gets created right here, which I believe to be insignificant enough. What's the interior?
We count these, you see.
We only count this right here?
Yeah.
We don't count all of.
But in general, Mr. Padilla, if you ask me,
We don't count.
I am mostly like functional.
Yeah.
So
What is the ceiling height and upstairs?
the ceiling height is 9 feet. Is 9 feet.
Second one.
So it would
On the
not-
second floor?
not really affect, we would rather keep the straight ridge if possible. It really not-
Yeah, no, it's not, it's really more, it's just a couple of inches actually when you calculate it the way that we do. So I think this is an acceptable encroachment.
Yeah, it's minor, but nevertheless, we thought we will give you an
Yeah.
alternative in case.
On your plan, you have it called out as the ceiling height being 10 feet. Is that because it's a tray ceiling or is it flat
It
ceiling?
is a tray ceiling.
And that's why the
Yes.
ceiling height is 10
It's a
feet.
flat vaulted ceiling.
But your plate height is 9 feet.
Yes. In other words, it starts at an angle and then it flattens at 10.
It's a big room.
That is a big room, yes, but, believe it or not, this whole area is existing. I am reinforcing the floor, but it's one big huge attic and the level of it is different. I don't know whoever did this addition, it's so lopsided, honestly. It's, as an architect, it sort of bothers my eye, but it's been there forever, so we're just trying to make it look better overall. The color means, the material, let me tell you briefly, the roof is a GAF timber line in this exact color that you see here. And the siding is vinyl. And the color, the windows are Anderson. I was hoping I could show you the colors actually on the screen because doesn't really do justice to the actual color. It's,
That's the siding.
our print, but it's a lighter color than that. It's a more pastel color than that.
Okay, why don't I get into a couple of the things that I'd like to go over with you. There's a little bit of inconsistency in window and door style that I think would benefit the house for you to address. So, you know, there's this, you know, the balcony has this divided light double door. The window just to the right of it has just a 1/1 double hung. Then the front door is a different sort of door style. The garage door, yet another, and
The garage door is existing. We didn't touch it, we just painted it.
that's fine, I understand. So if you're going to keep, if you're gonna, what I'm interested in is a consistent style of your openings, of your doors and your windows, which again is consistent with the type of house, right? It's a different type of house now, and so some of the materials or some of the details that are on that existing house may not lend themselves to the new house, and I'll leave that to you to decide exactly which route to take, whether you use the garage door because you're keeping it as a point of departure, or you change the garage door to meet the new style of the home. Now, I think the tail would be wagging the dog if you were to design the house around an existing garage door that looks like it's made of fiberglass, but I leave that up to you.
No, actually, to tell you the truth, one of the things that I was trying to push for change was the actual garage door, which I wanted to have with a flat tangent, flat arch, we call it the Roman arch. If it could, you know, to sort of match the flat arch that we have by the front entrance doors. And this, there was a little bit in our eye, you know, over above the gable, we were trying to get it to really.
Yeah, no, I see that.
Shape a little bit. I do not think my client has any objection to changing that garage door to a very shallow arch, which I think would go much better. If that is okay with the board, I think it would go much better with this scheme of things. It will sort of add a touch of consistency. And maybe, you
Not
know,
a touch,
some glass in that, some, you know. glass
full-on
in-
consistency.
Hmm?
Not just a touch,
Yeah,
full
yeah.
consistency
Yeah.
through doors, windows, garage door, front door. Those things, I think there's, that's the biggest, I think, sort of hole here. And then I want to just bring up a couple other points, and then I'll let you can address them as you see fit. There are two elements here that are sort of lone elements. The first is a column or a pilaster, I'm not exactly sure, which is sort of this, can you tell me?
To the left side.
Yeah, to the left, and, you know, is that an embedded pilaster that I'm looking at, or is that a true column?
No, it's a column because it's the balcony.
This steps back?
Yeah, it's the
Okay.
supports the balcony of the.
You know, I think it's, I don't think it's necessary. I don't quite understand its purpose.
I think the problem is that it's a double door hinting to a center
Yeah,
place.
the double door is just very
And in the
busy.
double door is offset.
That is actually
Yeah.
a structural column, it's not, it's.
No, what
It's
we're
supporting the
saying is
balcony above,
that
Michael. What-
Okay.
the way that you're
Put
treating
it on
the
the other side and center the
entryway is
door.
for a symmetric, you put a double door, not center.
Yeah,
The double door is not centered,
Look.
it's centered because I have a
Yeah,
closet to the left side.
I'm
No,
just
no.
saying in the elevation, if you mind.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The elevation,
On the elevation.
A4.
Let me show you. A4, the double door is off-center in the opening or.
is not centered in this opening because I have a.
That's okay, so then might not need to be a double door, the way that you
Yeah.
draw, you can do a single door, an
Single.
off-center door, like a two panel, which are not the same. You're creating a center entry with where it's not a center entry. And also there is the same issue with the
Like the window above, with the doors above.
Correct, but you
Yeah.
can,
It's less of a
yeah,
problem there, but.
But, you know,
Yeah, but it can- but it can
you
move.
exaggerate-
Yeah, it can
you
move, yeah.
exaggerate the, you know, the asymmetry by putting a column on this, on one side only, and on the right is
Well,
inexistent.
the column is structural.
Well,
I
you
do
need,
it
you need a
there.
column,
Yeah.
but the way you treat it architecturally, it's, you know, you can choose how to design it. Same concept with the centerpiece that you have on the house. You're trying to do like a center, you know, thin design, which two sides which are very different, and they need to be better proportion. The windows top and bottom and the centerpiece are really not working well with the center massing of the element that you're proposing there. The window on the top is, you know, after you apply the consistency that Michael is trying to suggest to you, I hope it will change. You don't need a transom because that transom doesn't do anything. And even that little detail that you put on the top it's confusing the stylistic approach of the house. Yes, that element is.
That's because it was picking up a little bit the shape.
No, I'm saying that it's confusing. It's a stylistic confusion.
It will go away while the garage work if we change the
All I'm trying to say, there is not a consistency in styling. I understand that it's a transformation of a ranch into something else, but it's something else that is not clear yet.
There is no style to this house.
So that's why you're.
No, but but there should be in the new house.
That's why you're
An
hiring.
element which was terrible, and we are trying our best to
Look,
make it half decent.
I am very happy and I welcome the owner that is taking it to his house because it's a great location.
It's a nice.
And it's a wonderful, it's wonderful that he's taking on to this, to improving this, and it's very good. But,
The transom, we can probably take it out.
if we're taking on the transformation of style, let's bring something that is coherent, or what you say, what the word you said?
Consistent.
Totally
Consistent.
consistent.
As-
Totally consistent.
Consistent.
Okay.
Somehow consistent it is. Or say coherent, a stylistic, a style that is coherent around the house. Also in the back, all the windows in the rear elevation, not that it's very, very important, that also just bring some consistency in the rear elevation, because they're really lacking some.
The back was with the layout, with the,
That's existing, those are existing windows, or?
a lot
No.
of them are, it was really a nightmare, honestly.
No,
Just to-
I understand.
Yeah.
So why don't we point what's existing and what is proposed, and next time that you're around, maybe you can bring also the type of windows that you're proposing, so we can look at the Anderson windows that you're.
They're just white, 200.
Just put it on a schedule, so we can look at it.
It is on the schedule. It is on our.
Do we know which is existing though and which is new?
No.
So, as we concentrate on this front, because I think that's really the most important thing that we need to tackle.
Also, the railing, do we want that railing there? I'm not so sure that is the right railing for this house. I got,
Can simplify.
yes, please.
You are objecting to the circles?
I think that,
It's just the style on that,
It's a
you know?
style,
It's just too busy, I think, for the rest of the house. If you can look at something, yep.
Spindles is not a problem.
Yep.
You just probably would add a little touch, but if
And-
you think it's too busy.
And just one thing, even on your drawing over here, you do have a 10-foot plate height call out, if you can verify.
You have what?
You have a 10-foot plate height call out, so if you want to verify what that height is, whether it's 9 feet or 10 feet, it probably would be better to do 9 feet than 10 feet, and then make a tray ceiling on the inside.
The top-
On the left over here, you said it was 9 feet.
Just verify 1 second.
Okay, if you want to just verify that.
So
That's
it
your
is
expertise.
somehow, the back of it is at 9 feet and the front of it feet, so we have a vault in the back.
Okay.
So as you're going out here, the top plate in the front is at 10 feet, but the top plate in the back is at 9 feet.
Oh, I see, it's not equal on front to back.
It's not.
There's a difference.
The rating, I don't think it's an issue to 55, absolutely not a problem. I agree with you about, aligning this in this opening, but that what we need to do, we would need to estimate that project.
If you consider a single door, you definitely would have a lot more elbow room. Would you be
single door
willing,
would
would you be
resolve
willing
the
to do
issue.
that? You know, you'd have
Or-
more
or
elbow
you
room on
just,
both
like
sides.
a
I think
s-
it'll
a
look
side
nicer.
panel, like a fixed
With a
panel
side
and a
light,
door.
Yeah, and bigger side
side
lights,
light,
you
yeah.
know.
One
One,
case,
one door with glass. I think it might look more balanced.
it certainly would allow us to center it. Not a
Exactly.
problem.
I agree with Yair and Michael.
All right, so, and then, so in which case I would also align the window
The
above,
upstairs,
door above,
yep.
yeah. So, and center it in this here, so a single door with two side lights. Okay, and then, center,
And then if you can look at the grill pattern, because it's just,
the other thing was simplify, railings to just spindles. To regular. Okay.
Max, can you also, for next hearing, can you bring a sample of the vinyl
of the
siding?
siding.
The vinyl siding, I
Even-
just downloaded it from the
Yeah,
color
no,
samples for the
if you
week.
get, no, but I wanna see the quality.
I have to order it. I have to order it, we use Royal. I can order a sample if you want. You know, they give us, they send a sample, it takes a
Would,
couple
would
of
Hardy
days.
Plank Club would work? It's
It's
Hardy
just-
Plank, Hardy
It's just
Plank?
regular texture, it's nothing, there's no fancy texture to it. Regular 4-inch vinyl fabric.
No, we're just talking
I'm
also
not,
the
I'm
color.
not, I'm not expert, I'm not an,
The color, is this really the color or is there a
No, it's
difference?
lighter than that.
Yeah,
Our
it just
printer-
looks,
I know, it
Yeah,
just,
our
it-
printer prints very dark.
If-
I was hoping to show it to you on the thing,
but,
which is.
but that's why I
more
think the
to
sample's
call.
really the only way to really,
I can
you
order
know,
a sample.
see if they'll,
and yeah, you gotta
Expedite
ask me what
something.
hardy plank?
yeah, Hardy Plank would.
Have you considered
you
hardy
considered
plank? It
that?
just looks nicer than
I
vinyl,
know it's a little
you
more
know.
expensive.
It's a lot.
I don't,
better.
is
It's
there
a
a
lot
big,
more
big difference? I don't
It's
know.
not a little more expensive. This has been, as an
No, okay,
architect,
yeah.
honestly, I'm talking about.
No, no,
I'm just trying to do my best.
no, we don't want to.
I mean, in
Create-
terms of materials, if there is anything in terms of alignment or changing, I have no objection, I can do that. In terms of budgetary
No, I understand.
issues,
But again,
have
I
a lot of
welcome the
questions.
improvement because
Yeah.
it's really improving the house. a
These-
lot.
Maybe you would consider the difference in price, if you can show him what the difference in price is, because it just is a huge improvement, it just looks much nicer.
Well, Hardy Plank, it's, I would say, from what I gather, at least like double the price.
Double the price
But
of
double
it.
the price in terms of, in the
What the whole
in the
project
overall of
is.
the project, maybe
You just might wanna take a
5%.
look at it.
I don't know, I'm just suggesting if it can be
I
considered.
certainly proposed and showed many samples to my client.
Yeah.
You know, if he's willing to change it, I have no objection, I cannot talk for.
Because,
other
you know,
people's
you have like
One of the
next
things
door
you
to
might
a,
consider.
a more durable
But this
Good
has been
material.
already-
Less upkeep.
It's subject of a long discussion on this.
One of the
good
things you-
vinyl. All right, so that, no, but that's why I'm asking for the sample, because sometimes there is a good standard vinyl, and I don't know which one are we talking about.
We have put this company called Royal in the past, they're pretty, in terms of quality, they make a fairly decent siding. It's not the cheap stuff.
I'm not so sure because I'm not familiar with siding.
One of the things you might consider on the front elevation, since you really replaced the entire front of the house, it's all new. The windows on the right side are new, the door's new, everything on the top is new.
Yeah.
It's all new openings. What you might consider is that centerpiece that you've made this sitting area, you might consider bringing that to the ground, that whole element that is, and you created a sort of a little faux roof in the center there, and then you've got the windows right below it, the windows are two different sizes.
There is a low roof behind, by the side of it, so if I bring this down,
To the right side, yes, but
Yeah.
to the right of the edge, to the right edge of that? Of this sitting area?
I have a roof right here.
It's in the same elevation as the area below it.
I actually, honestly, I tried that and it looked not good at all.
Okay.
It looks too vertical and too narrow, unless I widen it in terms of proportion.
It just seems,
I know exactly what you mean. I tried that, and it just looked too, very standalone. If it were wider, probably, I agree with 100%. But this is definitely a good idea. I agree, if my client agrees to the single door.
two separate bedrooms here and two,
No, the idea of, I don't mind the double door so much as what is creating to that entry area.
The double door,
I don't mind it, the problem is that it's telling you that it has to be centered in
yes, but
between the
halfway
holes.
center, I
So
need
you
to
can
give
do
them
a double
little
door.
closet. Yeah,
True.
I would prefer to have a double door too, but.
No, it's not, I mind a double door, it's saying that it's creating a problem that you don't need.
You know, but the solution to, I mean, I don't mind a single door either if it has two nice
It's
side
up to you.
lights. It will still look okay.
I think for the size of the space, you'd be better off with a single door than a double door. You know, with a double,
Almost with the
usually
side
like
light,
much larger center hall colonials, you would consider a double door.
Yeah.
Because
Don't
this-
forget, this is not a huge house.
Right, the scale of the
Exactly.
house doesn't,
For the scale of the
I
house.
think that it's appropriate to the scale of the house.
Probably by the time we are done with the alignment, the single door with the side light will align with the door.
I think it'll look,
upstairs.
I think it'll look great,
Yeah.
so try it.
So we will do that, that's absolutely not a problem.
Yeah, and then address some of the other elements, like the column and on the second floor, and I don't have a problem with the bracket, that there's only one. And it's sort of, what is, it's not necessarily framing something. Same issue.
But that comes with the geometry of the front, and then
Yes.
the building itself. Because I have a beam here behind it, I think this is somehow.
Right.
So it is a bracket, but it's not just for the looks of it, it has some structural purpose. We try to make it decorative a little bit, but I believe they put a steel plate. There is a steel plate, if you look at the structural plan, there is a quarter-inch steel plate. You can see in section A3 or A6. Is it the projection?
No, it's not, I don't have a problem with a bracket or its design. It's loneliness
I know.
is
But
the
then
problem.
The geometry of the balcony, the geometry of the floor below is so like, I can put a fake column or, but again, it sort of goes a little bit against my.
I'm with you, I understand why you're reluctant to do that, I'm just pointing out some, I don't necessarily have solutions to the problems, I'm just pointing out some that seem a bit odd.
This is function over form in a way, so it's necessary.
We don't have A6.
Let's talk about this transom, guys. Is it offensive?
Which one?
I think it throws off your alignments a
The
little bit.
transom over,
The over window panel,
No, I think the entire element, like from,
I think this element will go with it.
well, yeah, if you make it one thing.
but you don't need it.
Yeah, I don't think I think it should either be one window that
You're
aligns.
thinking of one window,
Well, here, come on over to,
Why don't you do a bit?
like.
I mean,
an
I think
arch
either, yes, I think either it's one window or this is one element. And, so that
Do we need egress windows here? We don't need egress.
I feel like the
You got it, you have the
the
balcony.
transom panel and that trim, that little piece of wood trim don't make sense. I think if you wanna
Which is
incorporate a curve,
Yeah.
then make it the window, or
Make it
just,
a, you know, a nicer curve.
yeah.
Maybe one
Yeah, I mean, it's
picture
the same, you
window.
know, it's a little more gentle line that's sort of like the front door line, that's sort of like the garage door you're talking about it.
But then this line, this trim on the top, I can sort of mimic. I sort of like that trim, I would like to keep it if possible. You know, especially if I have
But
around.
how do you do it, in vinyl siding? Over the
Yeah,
vinyl
it's
siding?
just- It's a
It's in vinyl.
contrasting-
It's a vinyl
yes,
trim.
Yeah.
How do you do it?
Maybe we'll do that with AZAC. The
Let me see if it looks cartoonish.
Oh.
Look, I think what Dale is doing, I think it might work better for you.
Mm. Something like that, well, this I would make more flat, honestly. Flat, I think would look good.
You might also want to consider, you've got divided lights on the back of the house, on the front here, up here. Do you want to consider divided lights for all the new windows?
Yes. I guess, you
It
know,
will like make it a full blast colonial almost, in terms of the grills and,
well.
Maybe it'll be less
Look, I think you have to
Or do you take the
find,
grills out of these new doors?
either this or that, yeah.
One or the
So
other.
This, so the idea would either to have this here, or just take this out and just have it plain.
Adjacent to the front door too. If you're going to take them,
Yeah.
you take the grills out, take them out everywhere. don't you?
Yeah, of
Carry
course,
this stuff.
in the back too. But I
No.
like the sketch that you did here for this. This
No.
I don't think it's more flat, but this is too,
you,
we can do something along those lines. Okay, I think it have to come back and see you guys one more time.
of course.
You're always welcome.
No, you can.
All right, we'll be back.
But it's not, I really think that it's a real improvement from what it is. And it's a nice opportunity to have like a nice, because there's a lot of exposure, it's a house that is,
It's right on the
visible.
golf course, yeah.
and there's a lot of houses that you can, you know.
Well, it's already a challenge to get to this point. To be here tonight, from a budget point of view,
We-
so
Yeah,
hopefully,
we understand.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Motion to approve, to continue to the next hearing. Do we have a second? Mayor, second? Unanimous. To Ashford.
Good evening, Pat Steinstetter, Gotham Design. This is actually a conference. I mean, it's 2 Ashford Avenue, that's the address of the building, but this is for the tenant. Real estate firm is taking the first floor, and although we have provided a lot of sign locations, they have decided they want one sign, which, that's fine. So, it's at the corner, it's just a panel sign with compass on it, no other information on that.
What materials?
This is a metal wrap sign. It's, you should have a sheet there. Giving you the
It's
details.
just, it's like a
Aluminum?
sheet metal.
Yeah.
It doesn't
It's a
specify.
09 aluminum sheet. The letters are half inch deep
Oh, that's,
on it, and that wraps around the panel that has a frame that ties back in. And the other signage is on the glass itself below, with compass on one panel of the door, and over here saying America's most innovative real estate company has arrived in the River Towns with their tag, which is, you do not give out phone numbers, you give out your email address. And this is a company that's really hot right now.
We know.
They're moving up here, this is their first location in Westchester.
We know.
This is gonna be their headquarters for the Westchester market.
We know.
So the sign is black.
Yeah,
and how much of the first floor do they occupy?
the whole thing.
Oh,
Yeah, no issues with
you're still looking, and
No, approved.
I don't wanna rush you.
I mean,
I just think it looks really heavy and dark in that opening.
yeah, if
And I also
they,
think that post is gonna block.
well, the post gets moved,
Oh, it is getting?
yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
How do you do it?
How do we do that? That's what we're working on. The main thing is figuring out how much money the state of New York wants to move it. They're trying to figure out what their budget is for next year. and how
More
much
than
they-
what it costs to move it.
Yes.
I would like to make a motion to approve this.
Second, okay.
No? No. 4 in favor, Dale?
One against.
That's okay. I mean, just so that, full disclosure, no one has had any conversation with me at all about what the sign is. They just said, here's what it is. They have a crew in New York that's probably way overpaid. And this is, this is the product of about, 6 or 7 months worth of work. A couple $100,000 in bill,
It's fine.
different.
Actually, it's not true.
Yeah, this is their, they have their.
Thanks.
It's a beautiful. font.
84 Maple Street, please.
Just got me.
Variance for this approved?
What?
Variance for this, huh? Question?
Let's see. Dan, is there a variance for this?
You got the value, right?
The variance is approved, okay, thank you.
Yes.
What we're proposing is a very modest addition. Very modest home, about 1200 square feet. Basically, we're going to propose to go straight up on the back of the house, back into the line, roof pictures, everything basically is tiny there. Because of the way the house is configured, from the street, you're only going to see about 5 feet of wall. About 5 feet of the wall of the floor. So you see a very, very little change in the street. The major change in the house is really the windows. Because of the interior configuration, we're trying to accommodate the growing families that are second child. We're trying to add a condo downstairs, so they're all downstairs, we're going to leave one child in the upstairs bathroom. And the major contribution is they match the school upstairs. So once again, everything's very modest, very tight spacing. So the only place we were able to put the toddler rooms in the front of the house, so the look at elevation, we're going from a full style kitchen unit, relocate to the maximum size on the right side of the house, and a small little, back of the house, all the windows are
So,
there.
hold on just a moment, I just wanna catch up to you. Okay.
So all the reasons, it's a second floor addition on the master bathroom.
Well, no, there's the front elevations changed a little bit.
Changing very slightly.
It's fair, it's minor. I didn't, please. Yeah, continue, please.
So basically, the bulk of the addition, or the whole addition, is in the rear. You see very, very little on the front of the house. If you look at the front elevation, with the existing floor, the existing rear portion, all we're adding is that little strip above, which is about 4 by 9, or 8. They will see this. On this particular house, if you look at the photograph, you see the roof is around, very low roof. So the visual impact of the house is very, very small when you're on the street. So I don't
white vinyl certainly, which would also match the flat trim on the windows, also a 5-inch.
This is also vinyl.
Yes. This is all, The nice thing about this particular vinyl is that it comes in much longer lengths than normal. It comes over 15 feet.
You see less joints.
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of vinyl, but it's much better than what you usually see on the field. And much, much less expensive than fiber cement contract residential. It's 5 cents more than double the price. And then you get into nicer trims and everything. It's really, really crazy.
No, yeah, we know that the pine side is cheaper, half the price of the hardy plant, but in the overall budget, might be represent a 5%.
Yeah, but in this budget is very, very tight.
Yeah.
If you notice, we submitted 2 options on the side, and one was to keep the existing aluminum on the center for the second phase, because it's pushing it to the top.
Yeah, can you tell us what so that the proposal would be to keep the existing house and just clad the new house?
That was.
The new portion of the
yeah,
house?
That is what we'd really like to do. We offered an option of all vinyl in the case you did not feel comfortable with that, so we didn't come back and even possible. But really, from a budgetary standpoint, we're really pushing the limits. And,
They don't make aluminum anymore, right?
they do make it.
They do?
It's hard to get where they make it,
Yeah,
but
I thought that
that was
they don't
desirable.
make aluminum.
And the vinyl is a much better product, much better insulation, you know, it's generally it's much better.
The only problem I have with vinyl is it doesn't just finish well, or it doesn't stay as installed.
Well, I think part of it is due to the quality of installation.
Installation,
A lot of
yeah.
people nail it tight and then it buckles. If you install it
Correct, and then
properly,
you
let it
start
move.
seeing,
Yeah, the other thing about this is that they're using the 5-inch corner boards
Mhm.
with the J-channel built in.
it should help.
So it's gonna move a lot more easily, look better than it would with just a little J-channel around the windows
Mm.
and the corner, you know,
Yep.
the standard corner boards. So from a vinyl standpoint, it's an upgraded vinyl and a much better looking vinyl. And once again, we've been, on this house, budget has been a major consideration. We've been going back and forth and back and forth. We have so many iterations,
Mhm.
trying to make it work, trying to get the balance to fit. And, you know, this is basically,
The tricky thing about, so I'm not opposed to taking the addition and cladding it differently than the existing house. I guess what throws it off a little bit, it helps that in plan it's shifted, right? So there's a kind of
There's an
distinct
offset.
building, yeah, so it's an old and new. The issue is at the roof where you have, you know, there's, where you're continuing it, where it starts to feel like a whole house now, much more so than these 2 components put together. And so that's where I'm trying to find a way to,
the roof is really, like I said, you don't even see it. It's totally invisible on the ground. Even the solar panels on top, you never see. Of course, you're in a helicopter. Even getting shots, even going to Google Earth, because how it's eaten into the trees. You look at the streetscape, there's a tree that goes most of the front, it hangs right in front of the front.
and what's this current cladding? This is a,
It's aluminum. It's about a 9-inch aluminum. With all the inherent problems that aluminum has, trucking, fitting, dents, and lack of insulation. This is a, you know, has a rigid insulation behind it,
Mhm.
which is gonna help the house tremendously. Of course, it's part of the 2x6 walls, of course, with that insulation. I mean, ideally, we'd like to do the glass, once again, it's really impressive touch.
yeah.
So if we can get approved without doing that, they can do what they will with it. If we can sweep by and hold it off for a year or two, that would be great.
Are there any neighbors here? Yeah, all right, thank you. We'd like to,
We didn't come for this fish, we came for
Ah.
88, but.
oh,
But we're in between,
okay.
yeah.
Um,
No, we're right across the street from 84.
Would you like to make have,
I'm not sure I grasped all that, but part of the question is.
you have to grab the mic and introduce yourself if you'd like to
Sure.
make a statement.
siding on the older part of the house remained while there'd be new cladding on the new part, that would be fine as far as I'm concerned. I don't know that I have.
Thanks.
It is true that the roof is not very visible from the street.
Why would you have two different types of siding? And the shingle style plus the.
To be honest with you, that's the furnishing, I think it's way, way, way more expensive. The cost one is a little section in front, then it'll be
Just
just.
an accent for that front, since we had to redo the front. We're going to know it, hopefully make it look a little cuter.
So any thoughts, comments about this? Maybe I'll just address the big issue, which is that, so you've been granted a variance for a existing non-compliant zoning issue. The one issue that is, sort of falls between zoning and our board is the sky exposure plane. So normally you would show us a compliant plan, and we could address whether the compliant plan versus a non-compliant plan, there was some merit. Now, in this case, I mean, I don't think the intention of this is to prevent someone from having a reasonably sized two-story home on a buildable lot. And I think that's what you have here. And so, despite the fact that you are in violation of the sky exposure plane, it's a continuation of an existing footprint, and I understand the nature of the problem, and I think I find it acceptable from our perspective. But if there are other opinions here,
I agree with Matt. In this case, I find it acceptable to encroach the sky exposure plane. And in terms of choices of siding, clearly the second choice, option B, is my preferred one. But it's an issue of budget.
yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. Just looking at options A and B, I think it's a little odd to do the front lower portion of the house and then leave the rest of it, of the existing part. I realize you have to address that area because you're moving the windows, so and you probably can't find any new old stock of that aluminum siding. Does it, if you offset the additional cost of that material, the cedar imitation material, and you clad the whole house in the same way, does that help?
Can I ask a suggestion?
Sure.
They feel very strongly about the cedar. It's been a big,
Yeah.
Okay.
And because the entire decision is really based right now on budget, could we possibly make a stipulation that they would do this and then within the next 5 years, decide the rest of the house to match? Would you something like that? Because they really want to do it.
Yeah.
Remember that you're gonna be saving a lot of in energy bills if you reside the house.
But bottom line is having the right
Yeah.
paper.
You have to outlay the money.
I don't know if, I don't know if I can
If
do
there's-
that,
yeah.
actually. I don't, I would have to think about that and maybe consult someone. I don't know that that's a, we like to come to an agreement here and then that's it. I don't wanna, let's work it out now and then you have a resolution and you walk away from it and no one has to chase you down 4.5 years from now.
New siding is a darker color,
Yeah, like a stone gray.
so it's white and stone gray.
Yeah, except,
I think it'll be okay.
I think it'll be okay too, but what's odd though is that, so when they, at the front, is that, I, like, when you look at the side elevation, I don't have an issue. I think, like this, I think it's okay too, right, this
Yeah.
is setback.
Yeah,
And the same thing at the
it's
back
not
on
in
the
the
other
same
side.
plane.
You just have problems with front.
Is that
I
the
just
right
might-
elevation? Is
Yeah.
that-
Yeah, the right, the rear, the left elevation
They're not in
all
the
are
same
fine.
planes.
It's
Yeah.
just this one gets a little funny, but maybe if it's just me,
No, it's not just you.
okay,
No, it's not just you.
all right.
Like,
Not just yours.
It's so far back. It's a little back there. On the east side.
Yeah,
So this is shingle, that's white, and then this.
so this, everything stays the same.
Yep.
That gets this,
New.
the cedar shingle, and then this gets the gray.
Yeah.
That's fine.
That's fine.
Okay.
that's fine.
Well, I think, we have more or less, okay. I think we can approve option A, and if in the future you decide to do it, great, that's up to you. No one's gonna, Dan won't show up at your door 2020.
years, yeah.
2022.
As if you remember what
Asking
we
for
were
it.
Put it
doing
in the calendar
yesterday.
of my phone.
Yeah, he'll be the chairman by then, and then you. Right, okay, so, any- what's that?
That's separate issue.
And you are installing the solar panels? That's part of the project, okay. Thanks for this very comprehensive drawing set. We appreciate that. That's changed. So motion to approve this application as submitted. Do I have a second?
Second.
Dale seconds. Unanimous. Thank you. Good luck.
We don't ever talk about this case ever.
We should start talking about it.
And there are different options. Some are pretty extraordinary, and some pretty ordinary.
Yeah.
In this case, the house is so flat, and the way to lay it just places like this, the good thing is you can really provide insulation and snow protection.
We'd have to see them all over the village now.
Yeah.
It's not like
There's no code.
no, there is no code, and there is also there is no need for them to come in front of us to approve.
Actually, I think that's not the case. They are supposed to come before.
If you install solar panels, they have to come in front of us?
Solar
If
panels.
someone installs solar panels, they have to come in front of us?
No.
See?
I think that roof slope is very shallow,
No, in this case, it doesn't really matter.
very shallow. No, I'm just saying for the roof
But in
panels,
general-
for the solar
I
panels.
just thought everyone was doing it illegally. Hi, 484 Broadway.
Yeah, hi, my name is Joseph, I'm here with Christina Virgin
eyesore deck on
Yeah.
the second floor.
Good, thank you. Good job.
We're gonna get rid of that, and instead we're going to, back up. We're going to add this bay window in that dining area. This is the existing right here, this is the mudroom, that's the existing building. We're going to add a, bay, and then add this piece right here. Okay, so I think we're improving the aesthetics of the building. The side view, this is the side view, the north elevation and, the south elevation and the, just wait a minute. Let's stay there. The west elevation is the front and nothing will be changing at all. As far as materials go, the house is vinyl, clapboard, we'll be matching it. I know vinyl is the word for tonight. And this is old shingles, really beautiful, but needs to be repainted. That's all to be repainted to match existing.
Mhm.
The roof is going to be replaced to match existing
So the roof is an existing,
red. Oh, here.
what?
So this is the existing building right here.
Mhm.
This is the front elevation. All these really beautiful details will be strictly repainted.
Yeah, it's a nice house, very nice house.
And this is the back that we will be extending to here and putting the bay, changing the windows.
It looks great, back looks great. It's nice you're taking off that funky deck
Yep.
and just cleaning up the house. And, it's a nice, it's
For
a,
safety, we're taking the door, for safety, we're replacing the door on the second floor, and then that will be the child's bedroom.
yeah.
So there won't be, that metal spiral stairwell is also.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
That one's hard to see really, but yeah. Yeah, that's a good proportions. It's always been a nice house. Yeah. Motion to approve this as submitted. Second. Yeah, seconds. Unanimous.
I was wondering, it's
Thank you.
approved.
Approved. You don't have to, at this point, you can just walk away. You don't have to listen to anything else we say.
I will do that.
Why?
Too late, Yair.
We are all there.
Yeah, we're dead. Get your approval, yeah, thanks. Good luck with it.
Good luck.
Motion to approve, to adjourn tonight's meeting. Unanimous, meeting adjourned.